Yo, what's up epic gamers? My name is Fox and welcome to another video guide of mine. In this video, we're gonna go over the mechanics of Eden's Gate Inundation Savage. Before you start, place the markers the way we had them, that was really handy. And also make 2 teams, consisting of 1 tank, 1 healer and 2 DPS each. If you got that going, then you're set and you can pull. Let's go! Leviathan greets you with Tidal Wave, a raid-wide AoE that hurts. Make sure to heal as needed. After this, you'll see the first tank buster called Rip Current. Rip Current is a 2-hit tank buster that puts a magic vulnerability on the first person to take it. So the off tank has to work during the cast or the main tank has to invuln it in order to execute this correctly. After that, you'll see Tidal Wave. Tidal Wave is a big knockback. You won't get knocked off the small platform if you are on the edge, by the way. But I suggest you to use surecast it to make it easier. You don't lose a cast if you're on a healer or caster, and you don't have to worry about where the Tidal Wave is coming from. In order to use your surecast perfectly, just use it every time at the end of Undersea Quake. That will always on up and you will never get knocked away from it. Anyway, Undersea Quake then is a cast where Leviathan will destroy half of the arena, the sides specifically. You'll now see Leviathan's bread and butter ability called Temporary Current. Make sure to learn how to read this ability properly because you'll see it several times throughout the encounter. Basically, Leviathan's 2 heads will lean towards one side of the arena and cover most of it in an unsafe area. If he leans to the right, your left front side and your right back side will be safe. If he leans to the left, your right front side and your left back side will be safe. This is basically so casters and healers can be at the back if needed for another mechanic. What you'll have to do now is to basically dodge Temporary Current, stack up with everyone and then spread out. This is because everyone will be targeted with a small AoE and if you overlap, you will die. So again, stack up, spread out, and then go back to a safe corner because Temporary Current will happen again. After that, Leviathan casts Maelstrom. He will disappear and small puddles appear all over the arena. Those small puddles will turn into big puddles at a certain point and will put a heavy debuff on you if you stand in that range. If you stand inside the big puddles, you'll also have a damage over time happening on you. Leviathan, after he disappeared, will dash 2 times depending on where you see the animation happening and cover half of the arena with it. This happens 2 times in the first time he casts Maelstrom. Leviathan comes back and says hello with a Tidal Roar, so make sure to heal as needed. You'll now see the first Tsunami cast of the fight, which gives you a small taste for what's to come, but this one is very easy to handle. 7 gamers get a debuff that has to be cleansed by being knocked back basically, and 1 gamer gets a line lookalike debuff that will knock everyone back, of course. Put the line knockback onto the 2 marker, which is basically max melee, have everyone stack in front of that and be done with it. After this, everyone gets knocked into the front and then you spread to your sides that you have been given at the start of the raid. So 1 team goes to the left side and 1 team goes to the right side, because now you'll have Undersea Quake and basically the middle of the arena will fall down and you with it. Again, now you'll have Temporary Current happening, so look at the head, and then the remaining debuffs from the Tsunami cast will go off, which is 1 stack on each of the healers and 3 donut AoEs on the rest of the gamers. So basically, stack up with your group on your side, dodge the head and you will be fine. You'll now have another Tidal Roar, followed by Rip Current. That's basically it. Another Temporary Current, but this time it will be again the opposite. So if your first save spot was in the front, this time it will be in the back. After that, the arena will turn back to normal and you have another Tidal Roar being casted. After this, Leviathan will go into his Vogue phase, or whatever you want to call it. He basically starts casting Refreshing Shower and changes the way most of his abilities will work now. For example, Tidal Roar will change into Tidal Rage, which is now a harder hitting raid-wide damage, so make sure to heal as needed. He then will put down another Tidal Wave, which you can just negate by using your Shore cast at the right timing during the Undersea Quake cast. This is followed again by Temporary Current, but this time there's no time in between them. Basically, you go to your safe spot, you wait for the AoE to appear, and you move to the other side. This again is followed by Drenching Pools, so make sure to stack up properly, and this time afterwards spread out again. But leave room to run from the safe spots to each other, because this time you'll have again Temporary Current to the two sides as before. So make sure to really spread properly here. We had all the ranged and the healers in the back, leaving room to dodge from one side to the other side, and the same was for the tanks and DPS. This again is followed by another Maelstrom cast, but with a small twist. This time it's gonna happen 3 times. Basically, the way to handle this properly is to look at where the first dive is gonna be and position yourself so you can just dodge right into it, and that's about it. That's how you do it. It's very simple and you're good to go. This is followed then again by Tidal Rage and the Tank Buster. Nothing special here, but we'll have a new mechanic coming up. We'll then have Stormy Horizon cast. Basically, this starts doing raid-wide damage to the whole group, so make sure to have people topped or have regions running, of course. And then we'll have the group go to the northeast part of the platform, as you can see on the video, and you'll have 5 puddles appear under, I think, 4 or 5 people, but we just stack up, so it doesn't matter. So make sure to stack up, circle around the hitbox of the boss, and during one of the last 2 casts, one of the tanks will get marked with a flare. That tank has to basically now disengage completely and go to the back, while the group has to move to a safe spot. The tank does also, because he will now be casting Temporary Current. So again, you stack up, you dodge your puddles with your group stacked, tank goes to the back, the rest stays in the front, you dodge Temporary Current, then you dodge it again, and then you stack up and you'll have everyone soak this huge, really cool looking raid-wide damage going on basically. Like, this looks really nice, but make sure to also heal and mitigate as needed. Now we'll just have raid-wide damage going out a lot, so make sure to heal as needed. And this is followed by Drenching Pools again, so make sure to stack up, bait the AoEs, move out to your sides. And the way we handled this was basically we had the same teams as we had for the side split, so you move out to your right or left side depending on which team you were on. You have the tanks in the front, melees then followed by those, and the healers followed by the ranged in the back to bait your puddles on the side of the arena, because it's gonna drop down and you don't have to deal with it anymore. Now we will get to basically the wall of this fight, which had most people struggle so far in my eyes, and which was also the hardest to figure out during my blind progression run, which is the second Tsunami cast. I've tried to come up with a strat that makes it as easy or, as friendly as possible to handle, and this is basically what I came up with. I will also put a link in the description of the video to have pictures showing how the strat works, but of course I'm gonna now go over this strat. Leviathan then starts casting Tsunami, but this time we'll have a few more debuffs than the first time. We'll again have the 2 stack markers as before, we'll have 2 line markers, we'll have 2 cone lookalike markers, we'll have 1 big AoE marker on the tank, and we'll have then 1 knockback marker, and everyone again gets of course the same debuff as before. We'll start off with the knockback marker or debuff going to the very front of the arena, knocking back everyone else. You will then split up into a group of DPS on the right side and the healers and 1 tank on the left side. This way the stack will resolve with 4 people on the right stack and 3 people on the left stack, which is enough. But make sure to have enough mitigation and enough healing going out. After this, you have 1 tank in the very front baiting the cones, basically. Make sure that the cone markers or debuffs are in the front of the stack markers to not clip anyone. The tank here can use 1 single cooldown, which will be enough to mitigate this damage. After this has been handled properly, go everyone back to the front. Have the DPS line debuff look backwards and knock everyone back to the middle. The tank with the big AoE debuff then has to go to the back and disengage. I couldn't think of any example where he can keep up time, but that's basically the best I could come up with. I am gonna be honest here. After that, the tank with the line debuff looks forward and knocks everyone to the front again. There you go, you resolve the mechanic properly. I'll now replay the whole mechanic once again, and again you can find pictures in the video description. The whole Tsunami 2 phase is followed by temporary current twice again, so make sure to look at the heads, dodge to the first save spot and then dodge to the second save spot. This is then followed by Tidal Rage, so make sure to heal as needed. Another Tidal Rage is being casted, followed by the Tank Buster Rip Current. Handle as necessary. Now we'll encounter a new mechanic or a new phase. Basically, Leviathan starts casting Roiling Peals. The way we handled this was, again, we had our 2 groups from before. 3 people of that group, not the tank, stack next to the marker in the front. Don't stack on the marker or you fall down. I'm just letting you know, it did not happen to me at all. So yeah, stack next to the marker and the tank needs to go to the back because both tanks get a flare marker, right? So again, tanks to the back and the 3 remaining people of that group stack up in the front next to the marker that we place because the arena is gonna fall down. Now we'll come to the very last mechanic of the fight. After you've done this, you're done with the fight, so look forward to it. Ranged and casters now go to the back because Black Smokers is about to happen. What is going to happen in this phase is going to be a lot of damage, so healers be aware of the damage going out. The 2 players the furthest away from Leviathan will then get targeted with some kind of line on their character. This indicates that they will be dropping 4 puddles that need to be soaked by players. Basically, the way we handled this was that I started on the outer edge of the arena to bait the first puddle, moved forward for the second puddle, which was then soaked by a melee DPS, moved to the left side, which was again soaked by the healer, and then moved forward again, which was soaked by the melee DPS. Basically, the rules for this is that number 1, you can't drop a puddle on a person because you'll wipe your group. And number 2, the same person cannot take 2 puddles in a row because of a debuff. So again, make sure to interchange who takes the puddles. The first one by the healers and the third one, and the second and the fourth by your melee DPS or the other DPS that you have with you on your platform. Remember that during this time, the tanks are getting hit with high damage, right? They have to face this also, of course, outwards, so make sure to position yourself properly. But this is very, very high damage on the tanks and in general on the whole group. So healers, again, be aware of the damage going out in this phase. This is followed again by 2 times temporary current, but this time it's front and back again. So run to the front or back and then run immediately to the opposite, because it will be happening 2 times really fast. This is basically all followed just by AoE damage. You'll have Tidal Rage cast 2 times, then you'll have the Calm cast, which is basically the soft enrage. You'll have lots and lots of AoE damage until you have the Storm cast, which is the final enrage cast. Congratulations, you literally made it to the end of the video and you should now know all mechanics. I am though saying again, for the black smokers, there's probably better positioning of these puddles, as you could have seen. The melee had to disengage, so there's probably going to be a better strat for that in the future. But I think for the Tsunami 2, this is probably a very easy to handle strat and very party finder friendly strat in my eyes. But apart from that, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this guide, and leave me any feedback you have in the comment section. That would be much appreciated. And yeah, I hope you guys will clear this, because you are all epic gamers anyway. So I'll see you boys around, right? Have a good one.